Hi everyone and welcome to the channel. This is Diana Ola today. Yes, so Bitcoin price is going down, and I remember I stated it clearly in my last video that I wasn't too happy that we're creating a double top scenario on the 4-hour time frame of the Bitcoin price action. I even remember I stated very well that we have a bearish engulfing pattern here, which would have been a very good entry candlestick for a short position, but that I wasn't going to be personally shorting Bitcoin because, I mean, historically speaking, it just doesn't make sense for you to short Bitcoin in a bull run. You just don't know when the volume comes in and then poof, you're liquidated. So this actually played out. However, I also did stated the possibility that, okay, we did break above this descending wedge and we're supposed to see a price movement to the upside. And then I was going to enter once we retested it. We retested it here and saw a good break above this, but it created a double top pattern for me, which is the first top here, which I highlighted in my previous video, and another top here, which I also highlighted. And I even stated this entry candlestick, this close below pattern, which was not making me so encouraged to long Bitcoin at that period in time. And when this happened, we started to see Bitcoin have some small consolidation here, and then we created a triple top. Okay, let me see if I can actually draw out what I'm trying to say here. We had the first top here, and we saw it create a neckline, then we saw it create another top back towards the neckline area, and then we created another top at this point. Let me move this. And we moved down again to the neckline area, which was very, very indicative that prices were very likely to go down. I mean, if you actually saw this pattern and you were in a long position, you should have actually exited. I traveled, been very busy on the road recently, so I wasn't even really in any trade particularly like that. So I didn't even have time to chat. So apologies for that, for not chatting. Hopefully I would have been able to warn you guys enough to get out of your long trades, but that's what we have. And now we are actually seeing that Bitcoin price broke below the previous support zone here, and actually is presently kind of like retesting this inverted head and shoulder neck zone. Okay, if we were to draw this properly, this would actually look something like this. The full neck zone should look something similar to this. Okay, so that is what that is looking at right now. And as you can see, we're presently trying to bounce off of that neckline zone. And hopefully we should be able to bounce above this resistance, because I really wouldn't like to see Bitcoin go further down. But I want us to look at all the possible scenarios so that you're actually prepared for anything that may happen. Okay. You might be wondering why Bitcoin is going down, why the price is going down in price. We actually said we're supposed to hit $74K, but then we saw this movement, which actually changed the direction of our initial predictions. Okay. And if you look at it, if I were to check this right here, you would see that we're actually getting closer to Bitcoin halving. And if you've been following the macro analytics sector of Bitcoin, you would see that we tend to see much more movement to the downside towards the Bitcoin halving, because most times when we have the Bitcoin halving, we tend to see much more price skyrockets. So it's more like Bitcoin doing its healthy retracement, healthy corrections back into very great liquidity zones in the market order blocks, in order to get enough liquidity to then create and skyrocket prices for a massive bull run. Okay, so it's more like a wealth redistribution process happening right now. If I were you, what I would be doing is to be entering long positions using dollar cost averaging right now, because trust me, you might not get this kind of prices in the nearest future again once we have this Bitcoin halving. And what that means, let me just quickly break down how this affects you and why you need to key into Bitcoin right now during this retracement period when Bitcoin is going down. if you look at this image that we have right here, is the whale accumulation graph. And this whale accumulation graph is telling us that we're having much more whales buying into Bitcoin. In fact, way higher than it has ever been in the history of Bitcoin since Bitcoin itself was created. And we're going to be having this halving in about 18 days, 2 hours from now. Okay. And what this means is that the reward for people mining Bitcoin is going to be cut by half. And that means that we're going to have less supply. Now, what do you think is going to happen when we have this much demand, this much accumulation with such less supply of Bitcoin? We're going to have a very huge supply shock, and that is going to create much more scarcity, which then creates price increase, massive price increase. Okay, so you might not know when that is just going to start. Okay, and if you're looking at the Bitcoin chart right now, let's go back to the Bitcoin chart right now. If you're looking at the Bitcoin chart right now, the reason why we couldn't even break above this line, even though we were supposed to, the reason why we couldn't break above this line, I'm trying to move this. Okay, I think I should change the color of this to like red because it's a resistance zone. Now, the reason why we couldn't even break above this line was because just look at it, the volume was just so low. Okay, you have a lot of variables. There's a lot of variables required to see upward movement in price. You need buyers coming in. You need much more, awareness, a good community and all. But you don't really need so much variables for price to drop. Okay, so if you've seen all the nice analysis and everything, and you're like, oh, Bitcoin is supposed to increase in price, and then the volume is not there to push it. Okay, like look at when we saw this particular upward movement in price, we had very good volume here. So, and that was why I saw the volume and I told you guys I was not happy we were creating a double top scenario backed with a bearish engulfing entry candlestick for a short position. And that was why I chose not to long Bitcoin at that period in time. I stated this very clearly in my previous video, and I said I was going to be waiting to hit a support zone, and we hit the support zone, but didn't close above the 4 hour 20 MA, which didn't encourage me either. And then we created this evening star pattern and saw much more movement towards the downside. Anyways, right now we are retesting this neckline zone, like I said, in between $65,000 to about $64,806, which is also where Bitcoin had a CME gap. If you know what a CME gap is, we tend to fill up CME gaps, and Bitcoin had a CME gap around 64.2K. I can't break that up right now. Hopefully, maybe in my next upcoming videos, I might bring that back up for you to see. But this is actually still very healthy. The fact that we're closing up a CME gap is actually a very healthy thing, and we might actually see much more movement towards the upside. But let's just see how far can this bearish trend go, and when should we start to consider entering. Okay, one of the reasons why people lose money in bullish seasons is because they know they have to do dollar cost averaging, but then they do not wait for a reversal before they then go all in. Wait for your reversal, ensure that your reversal is confirmed, be sure that you've seen that yes, we are reversing back towards the upside before you choose to enter into long positions. Now let's see, how possible can we go further than this? Is it possible that we break below this neckline? What are the probabilities for that? And for that, I'm going to be checking into the monthly time frame of Bitcoin. Okay, let's look at the monthly time frame of Bitcoin and see what the possible scenarios are. Okay, so this is the monthly time frame of Bitcoin. Now we are creating this red candlestick. We had our resistance between our initial resistance between $69,000 and at about 59,254. If I'm to draw a resistance box there, that would look something like this. Okay, so we know that it's actually still quite possible. Bitcoin might actually drop to $59,254. This is most likely going to be the worst case scenario. If we see a break below this monthly resistance zone, that means that we've entered into a bearish trend on the macro analytics sector, and that would be very, very scary for Bitcoin. So in as much as we are holding above this 58 to $59,000 for Bitcoin, we are still very much in a healthy correction, and hopefully we can pull up good enough liquidity from here, since this resistance has now flipped, is flipping to support, and then we can use that as our basis to move up and create higher prices in the long run for Bitcoin. Same seems to be applying for Ethereum. If you look at the monthly Ethereum chart, we are actually not yet in the overall resistance, which we have right here, but we are still around this resistance zone. Okay, we have this at this point, somewhere around this point. So hopefully we do not drop or close below 2,994 or approximately $2,300, because that is when it would become worrisome. So I'm giving you the worst case scenarios of how these assets are likely to drop, or the worst places they may drop to. If you want to DCA, you might want to make sure that you DCA such that these last points are also included, and then, you know, take your profits as you go, or choose to leave it for the long run. Now that's it for me today. I don't want to make this video too long already. I feel like it's so long already, but that's basically what is happening, and those are the possible worst case scenario. Like I said, I am not going to be shorting any altcoin or Bitcoin right now, because we're in the bull run and I understand what is happening in the macro analytics sector. This is just a redistribution phase. See it as an opportunity to buy these assets at a very cheap price, and then, like I say, wait for a confirmation of a reversal pattern before you choose to enter into any long trades. Now, we want to check if we have any reversal pattern happening right now to know if we can start buying Bitcoin back. So I'm going to jump into the 1 hour time frame. And the answer is no, we've not seen any reversal patterns happening right now. So I'm still going to hold on and wait. Waiting is the best thing to do right now. That's it from me today. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow in my next chart analysis video. Happy Easter, everybody. Sorry I wasn't online. I was very busy traveling and enjoying myself. All right, see you guys in the next one. Take care and bye.